Hello, this is Alex Calvo Garcia. You're listening to the Iron Hour podcast.
Hello, it's Barry here, and welcome to the Iron Hour podcast. I'm joined by Marco, Gareth, and Becky. Lots to get through today after, this weekend's shock defeat in the FA Trophy to Warrington Rylands. Coming up on today's episode, we break down that game. We look at the arrival of Mark Beck, and we'll probably touch on the arrival of Luke Williams too. We discuss that interview that Michelle Harness did with BBC Radio Humberside. We talk the podcast interview with Matt Roberts. We have our spy in the camp, which is the chairman of Leamington FC, Mr. Jim Scott. We'll preview the Leamington game. We have an announcement regarding FPL prizes, our usual hero idiot moment of the week. And at the very end, we will hear from Stuart Maw regarding fundraising. So lots to get through. Let's kick off with the game at the weekend, Marco. What the hell happened?
I'm going to say, hi everyone. Do we have to? I know you said at the start of a podcast it was a surprise defeat, but let's be honest, we all knew this team's very capable of being the upset. Just look at Geisley and look, Saturday, I think a lot of us, I know Max in on today, but he thought the same, would maybe be a shape change. This would be the perfect opportunity. Look, I want to have a game. I had to listen on Humberside, but when the lineup got announced, you just like, for Butler's sake, I really hope we win today. Because I said, if not, he's going to be at the end of a barrel. And look, we didn't. And you saw the meltdown on Twitter and Facebook. I feel for him. But on the other side of the coin, he's not changing it. He seems to be dying by his formation. And look, it seems to be coming unstuck, even against, again, all due respect, which I keep saying a lot on podcasts nowadays, against lesser teams like Warrington Rylands, who congratulations for going through.
And Gareth, we talked last week about the possibility of Butler maybe doing something funky just to stick with the five at the back. There's a bit of conjecture that Barrows might be one of the centre backs. In the end, he went with Denton as one of the centre backs. It just seems crazy, doesn't it, that he's doing anything he can to stick with a five, come hell or high water?
Yeah, like Marco said, it was a chance to change things. It was a free hit, really. That game, we could have, stepped it up. All sorts of formations you could have played, but no, we stuck with the same. At times, I thought there was three at the back quite a few times. In fairness, I unfortunately was there to witness it. But yeah, it was just, I don't know. Yeah, I think I was at the end of the game. I was like thinking, that's it. Get out of here type thing. But looking back on it, after I'd slept on it and looked back, we created so many chances again. And we had so much possession again. And we're just not doing anything with it. That's the worrying thing. It's like, fine margins. And if we should have been 3 or 4 at half time. The chances, the keepers pulled off some great saves. Warrington were defending, bodies on the line type stuff. We should have done so much better. But once again, it's that we can talk about the defence all day long, but it's the lack of finishing at the other end as well that's a problem. It wasn't for want of trying, but we're just not getting the ball in the net. And I think if we can get the ball in the net, then as fans we'll be a lot happier, because we should be, no disrespect to Warrington Rylands, walking teams like that. We should be putting them to bed at half time. And then, but the thing is, to come out in the second half and totally flip from how we played in the first half, that was also worrying in some respects. We had a tempo in the first half. The second half, we came out and it was like, they're there for the taking type thing, and we'll just ease our way through. We can step off a little bit and, get the goals, but it never happened. Warrington were up for it, and it showed with the result in the end. But yeah, it was just a disappointing day, in fairness.
Of course, the turmoil, the fallout on social media on Saturday night was to be expected, very negative. I said on I think it was Monday morning, I said on Twitter, which I'm happy to repeat now, I'm very much a pro Butler man. I know we all have different opinions and we all have different views on this one. For me, I think he's our manager. I think it's not right to kind of be talking about other options right now. He's the guy. The board are obviously backing him. And listen, a lot of people are saying the stubbornness of sticking with five at the back. There's the other element, isn't there, right, Marco, where if he switches now and suddenly goes to four at the back, it's like, is there an admission there that he's got it wrong tactically so far? Do you think that's what's stopping him? What's really holding him back from making that leap and changing that formation?
Yeah, I mean, there's that argument that he'd look foolish, but look, he's going to look more foolish in 4 games if he's the manager and could potentially lose a job. I feel like you've got to be realistic. That's life. If something's not working out, you've got to try something different. It's only normal. Look, I know earlier on in the season you said he was queried again about formation. You said he's going to stick to his guns, and you quite like that. But look where we are. It's clearly not working. I can appreciate on Saturday we did have a lot of chances, and obviously that doesn't matter what formation you play. It's just getting the ball in the back of the net. But I think, especially with signing Beck, he is huge, and surely we need to play some wide players to be getting balls into him. Otherwise, what's the point? Because I feel he mentioned about Whitehall playing with Beck, and I really feel that them two in the middle won't necessarily cause us to play long, but or that certain brand of football. But I don't think they're going to get them chances that they think they're going to get. It's going to be very easy to defend against two big number nines like that with no width from the back to goal. It worries me. Look, I hope he does sort of swallow his pride, change to a four. Well, not even a four necessarily, just something new. Because this shape is not working. And I mean, I'm not being harsh. I think 95% of Glanford Park says the same thing and can see it every match day.
Can I just jump in? It's like at the weekend I described to somebody as somebody that puts an accumulator on each week, like an 8-team accumulator, 10-team, whatever, and they've just got no hope of winning. And it just feels that they do it every week because one week they're going to think, I'm going to win, I'm going to turn this around, I'm going to do it. And it just feels the exact same thing. I'm going to play 5-3 at the back because one week it's going to work. I'm going to turn it around and show everybody that I can do it. And that's what it feels like. I just think that step away, have another look at it. But I'm not the manager, manager's prerogative, isn't it, at the end of the day? But then there's also some of that fall on John Schofield. It's John, isn't it? Not
John. Yeah.
And just, does he need to step in as well and just say, Andy, come on, mate, let's have a look at this. It's been said, I don't know, what do you do? The players step in.
It's one of the Beatles anyway. Becky, we've not heard from you in a few weeks, really, on the podcast. I kind of guess I'd like to see where you are at. Where's your head at? Are you worried? How worried are you? What do you think? What's kind of going through your mind at the minute?
Look, Chip, I'm not as worried as I would be if it was the opposite end of Christmas. So if it was after January, I'd be more worried than I am now. The thing that does bother me most, I must admit, is I know the struggle it is to get back to the top spot. I know we struggled massively last season. I think equally this season it's going to be a lot harder. And the longer this streak goes on, obviously we say it's a blip, it's a streak, the harder it's going to be to climb.
The chips are down, aren't they?
Yeah, no, exactly. So the longer we're here, the longer it's going to take to climb and the harder it's going to take to climb. So to answer your question, I'm not overly worried where I'm losing sleep, but I must admit I am getting a bit twitchy.
A little bit of a chip on your shoulder, maybe, or
I think so.
Marco, obviously, you and I spoke with Matt Roberts on Friday. That podcast was released on Friday evening. We kind of speculated there about the arrival of Mark Beck, which was confirmed later on Friday. Are you buoyed by that announcement? Do you think this will change us going forward?
Yeah, definitely. I know through the interviews, Butler and Michelle, not Michelle, sorry, Matt was both saying that's the sort of calibre of players we wanted in the club. Look, we touched on it. It was possibly going to be Beck on the Roberts podcast. And we proved right. He scores goals at this level, and I know Gareth was at the game. He said he was very impressed with his performance on Saturday. He was one of the actual shining lights for both him and Brogan. So look, he was winning the headers, but didn't seem like he had a right lot near him, which I'm guessing his Butler's thinking to pushing Whitehall up with him. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, it's an impressive signing. It's one we paid money for, which look isn't really our way at the minute, is it? We're obviously trying to be a sustainable club. Not many teams at this level sign players for a fee. So look, it's someone we must really believe in. and hopefully is the key to getting us back to the top.
And Gareth, the other signing that arrived last week was Luke Williams. I don't think we've had a chance yet to speak to you about that. The obvious questions around the injuries, they're too obvious really to ask. Is there anything else that stands out from that signing? Do you think this could be one that will work out?
I'd like to think it'd work out. He's been playing up in Iceland, hasn't he? I think he's been doing okay. I think, he's at an age now where he probably knows how to keep himself fit and what he's doing and things like that. So I think over the years he would have maybe managed his health a bit better. He's how he does things. So I think that's a big part of it. We've seen Cal Roberts play well so far, not pick up any injuries. So hopefully, Williams has come in and he can be the same. But going back to Beck, he did look really good on Saturday. He won lots of headers. I felt though in the second half we did lump the ball up to him too much. Maybe relied on his height a bit too much, and like I said, there was nobody around him at times, which was unfortunate. But he will definitely chip in with the goals.
Becky, I know you will have listened to the podcast with Matt Roberts. Was there anything that jumped out from that? I kind of thinking about him setting a profile from a possible candidate for head of recruitment. Was there anything else that kind of grabbed your attention?
Yeah, quite a few things. I liked how he said, obviously, his long-term goal was to be CEO at a football club, because it means that he's coming in with a fresh perspective of things, I guess. And he's coming in and you've got more chance of him using his head instead of his heart. Obviously, it's done as a challenge for him instead of a labour of love. That's nothing against the current CEOs or the directors, but we all know they've chipped in at the last moment to save the club, whereas this is a fresh face to come in. He might see things that others generally don't see because obviously they get led with the heart. That was a really big thing. He also takes ownership quite a lot in the interview. It was never they did this or I did this. It was always a we. So he never actually threw anyone under the bus or did anything like that. And I thought that was a real positive. And he also says that he's got a few contacts as well. So I think that could come massively in handy. So, yeah.
Okay, let's have a look at the interview that Michelle Harness did with Ollie Turner just before kick-off on Saturday. I think it was approximately 15-minute interview. Normally, we wouldn't kind of, dedicate some time to looking at that, but it seemed like such a watershed moment, actually, when I was listening to it. I've listened to it 5 times, to be completely honest, because I am really trying to digest some of the things that were said in it. I thought it was quite interesting, quite poignant at times. So many talking points. Marco, I'll kick off one with you, which was the bombshell really, that Andy Butler's contract wasn't in fact an extension, but was in fact an initial contract because it was a verbal agreement, or his contract wasn't written down, I think was the wording that Michelle used.
Yeah, look, I think it maybe tells you where we are as a club. Eyebrows were raised when it was offered on the back of a really bit of poor form. But yeah, very confusing. Like you said, it was a verbal agreement on a contract. Even at this level, you'd think it's got to be something not more professional, but you think it's definitely got to be an agreement made via a contract. It's there to protect people and people's livelihoods at the end of the day. So sometimes a handshake maybe don't just cut it.
I think I still believe there must have been like a slight miscommunication there. I still struggle to, I'm not playing devil's advocate here. I just do not believe that there wouldn't have been something. Maybe it was like a non-contract agreement or like a rolling contract. I really don't know, but I do struggle to believe that we wouldn't have something written down. I don't even know how legally that would have worked. Maybe it
was till the end of the season, and then after that, and not an extension as such, but a brand new, that was a temporary one. A new contract's been put in place because it sounds like this contract's got a lot more clauses and stuff like that. She made that very obvious. There's things put in place if we do go up, if we don't go up. So maybe it was the difference between a temporary contract or a permanent one.
That's a good point. There's something, isn't there? There's something in there. The other thing that jumped out to me, Marco, was the admission from Michelle that there was a little bit of naivety last season with all the signings that we made, and actually there is approach this season to kind of take it more more slowly and stick to the guns early doors?
Yeah, definitely. I noticed not got a backup, but she was a little bit defensive about the signings. E.g. Fishburne, obviously, we've not seen a great deal of Rowley. Brogan, obviously, just coming into the fold now. So it's obviously, and Carlton, obviously, but has been injured. But there's obviously eyebrows raised with the signings because not really had an impact this season. Look, she said with naivety last year regarding the signing, she's maybe just not panicked, but thought we need to get out of this league and thought just throwing not money at it, but bringing as many players in as can was the solution. Look, I think Butler's these two signings this week, I think, are really positive. I think they're two really good signings. If we can get anywhere near the Luke Williams we had, obviously, a long time ago, I think it's a really good signing. But yeah, look, Michelle has made it no secret whatsoever that her and the form of the board, and not necessarily football people, but it's all new to them. They've came in to save a club. They've not come in with a football on the mind, with a wealth of experience at many football clubs. They are all totally new. So look, they will make mistakes with signings. All people with football people at the club make mistakes on signings. It's just one of them things. But like I said, let's hope. Obviously, with the job being advertised, with recruitment, head of recruitment, let's hope we can get a few more players in that are going to have an effect on the pitch, and starting with Beck and Williams.
Let's park that for now because that is something I want to explore. Becky, let's have a look at the termination of Lee Turnbull's contract then, because again, it was something that Michelle was talking about in that interview, and Michelle. There was a little bit of conflict, I thought, in the interview. So at one point, she said it was very much a board decision. This is the direction the club is going. We feel that it's down to a lot of different factors, and absolutely, this is the direction we're now going in. And then just towards the end of the interview, there was just that little question mark where she said, however, I do think it leaves a big gap in our knowledge, and I do agree with the fans. And then when I heard that, I was like, oh no. Kind of what do you think?
So I think personally, and this is honestly, this is just my personal opinion. No one else is probably on the podcast. I think Lee's termination was done on the majority rather than unanimous. In all honesty, just by how she was speaking, what she was saying. Obviously, this is her first go at running a football club. She's never going to get it perfect, like Marco said. And you have to go with a majority, so I do think it's that. I do think that they're stepping in a new direction. However, I also think it might be a money thing as well. Not saying that we're going under or we're in desperate need of money, but maybe we could fill Lee's position in other ways. Like she's given some to Butler, she's given some to everyone else. So then it takes one wage off, I guess, the debt. It's a difficult one. I like I said, I do think it was purely a majority vote, and I feel like she kept saying about transparency, which I fully agree with. 100% we like it. She said if the fans found out that we did it this way and then that wasn't the case, they'd kick off. So I do think they've learned a lot from obviously the Jimmy saga months and months ago where his contract got renewed and it was all hush hush and then it came out. So they are learning, but we just have to stick with it. I think it's harder not knowing why he's left and the wording. But like Matt said in your interview, the wording had to be put out like that. But I think that's what worries me.
I guess I just kind of like almost want to defend them a little bit because we don't know, do we? Right? We could speculate about how that decision was made. I guess I was happy to kind of draw a line under it all. And then the door's just been left open that little bit now after that interview I find. And it's like my preparation for this was we probably weren't going to talk about it anymore. We had that interview from Matt and that was that. And I don't know, there's just like now I'm drawn back to it and I'm thinking, well, what did happen there? Is it best we just move on? I really don't know. Let's park it for now and let's look at that vacancy that's come up off the back of it, Gareth. There's obviously an opportunity now for somebody else to step up, somebody else to come in. And that's probably a good thing, right? It's what's happened over the past few years is obviously not really particularly worked, has it? We haven't gained those promotions. We've had significant relegations. An opportunity now for somebody to come in, take this by the scruff of the neck and see where they can take it.
Let's hope it's not Will Swan. Yeah, but you're right. I think, it's an opportunity, like you say, for someone to come in, a bit of fresh blood, as it were, look at it from a different angle. And yeah, hopefully it's the football person. Hopefully it's not somebody coming in as well that it's the first time in the job. I know everybody's got to start somewhere, but I think it needs a bit more of an experienced head as well to be involved, just to, maybe give advice as well to different areas. So yeah, as long as it's not, like I say, somebody coming in for the first time. I know Matt Roberts is in, it's a new start for him. He's learning on the job, as it were. So we need somebody that's got a bit of experience or a lot of experience, whichever, and somebody that's not learning on the job. Because I think if we have too many people learning on the job, I think, more mistakes will be made. And yeah.
I do think it's an opportunity for me personally. I think it's an opportunity for someone who's maybe not quite the finished article, but has some of that footballing knowledge. It's a bit like Matt, right? Isn't it? Oh, he admitted himself that the reason that we've got him is basically because the circumstances around his contract, where he can still do a little bit of other work, which allows him to take this role on a lower salary than another CEO would have got. I think it might be another thing of having to maybe think outside the box and working with what we've got. I guess the other thing I wanted to talk about, Gareth, the final thing on that interview was just the human element. And it was really sad to hear Michelle say that it was kind of overwhelming at times. And, everybody on this podcast, I know every single Scunthorpe fan that I've ever met has so much respect and time for Michelle and everyone on that board. It was just a little bit sad, actually. And I really hope we're not kind of adding to the pressure as fans on her, and she's able to kind of just take stock and move on with the club.
Yeah, I'd say it's got to be. It's a massive thing to take on, isn't it? People look up to you as well, and I think that's a big thing. People look at you as a hero, and everything that takes, that adds pressure to you as well. So any mistakes that happen within the club, ultimately, a lot of people might look at it and put it back to Michelle, but she's come into the club, she's saved us, and we need to move forward. We've got a club yet. Let's move on. Let's not put pressure on people. Let's look forward now, not backwards, and be grateful we've got a club, because there's a lot of that still. There's a lot of hope. At least we've got a club. We lost against Warrington Rylands. At least we've got a club. We've had a club now for over a year, and we're in a lot safer hands. We're in a safe place. So yeah, we've got a club, but we need to move on now. And I think Michelle wants us to move on as well. Let's not keep harking back to the past. We're grateful for everything that's happened, but let's look forward.
Let's look forward indeed, and let's look forward to this week's Spy in the Camp. Our guest this week is Chairman of Leamington FC, Jim Scott. Jim, thank you for joining us today. Now, obviously, you were promoted to this division last season. Was it an expected promotion?
I wouldn't say expected. What I did expect, because our manager is an excellent manager with a long record, been at the club 15 years, knows what he's doing. I thought we were getting the playoffs. And then after that, it's anybody's guess. The good thing with him is he's got in the playoffs 3 times, and each time we got relegated out. His record is got relegated out, got to the playoff final, lost, got relegated, got promoted the following year via the playoffs, and then we got relegated the season before last out of the National League North again, and he's got us to the final, and we won. So ain't a bad record for a manager. So that's why I was confident we'd be in the playoffs.
The definition of a yo-yo team, really.
Well, we haven't been. I mean, we've climbed from the 12th level of non-league football when the club got resurrected back in 2000. Formerly had been an alliance club back in the late 70s when the Alliance League was formed, and then went out of existence in '88 after Automotive Products, AP Leamington. They sold the ground from under the club's feet. They owned everything, and the club sadly went out of existence between '88 and 2000. And then the fans started raising money, formed a limited company, and started kicking, scratching, trying to get back into the football world. And it took them 12 years to find a plot of land, pay for it. I wasn't at the club then. I didn't join until 2004. by which time they'd already got 2 promotions in the first 4 years. And then we went on to have another 4 promotions. So we've been a bit yo-yo in National League North because we're punching so far above our weight, if I'm being brutally honest. So it's been a bit of a challenge. But the last time we were in for 6 years, 5 years, I'm losing the plot now. And we've gone straight back up. And not many clubs, when they get relegated, go straight back up.
And financially, do you find it quite difficult to compete at this level then?
It's very difficult for us because of our location. The club got reformed. The only land they could find was literally a farmer's field in the middle of nowhere, 3 miles outside town, bought 6 acres, and we've developed it. And don't get me wrong, our facilities are pretty decent now. But nevertheless, our location is a challenge to us for raising revenue streams in the clubhouse, and people wanted to come outside town to use it. And and obviously the league. No, you're looking at what, 6 ex-football league clubs, I think it is at the moment. Now you're looking at 5 full-time teams. So for us, it is a big challenge, but it's one we enjoy, and in fact we embrace, because our view as a football club is, well, get to the highest level you can and throw the punches and see where it takes you.
And unbeaten at home so far this season, how has that been?
It's been very good. We've always had a decent home record, and this season has been particularly good. And when you consider that this season we signed, I think, 6 players, and every player was step 3 or 4 footballer, it's been a pleasant surprise to see how quickly they've adapted to this level of football.
And tactically, what kind of team are Leamington? Will it be five men at the back, or are you quite a dynamic and expansive team?
Well, when we were in this league before, we were quite a pragmatic team because we were punching above our weight. If we opened ourselves up too much, we would come unstuck. If we kept it solid, kept in games, we've always had a good defence, and it gave us a chance. This year, the manager's gone for a bit of a younger model. There's more legs in the team. We're able to go toe-to-toe a bit better with clubs. We're scoring more goals than we've possibly just about ever done in this league before. And we're still relatively solid at the back. So we're a much more competitive team now in this league. That's what I'd say in terms of energy and ability to get around the pitch.
And you touched on the goals there. Callum Stewart obviously is the one that jumps out with 12 goals in 18 appearances so far this season, 11 of those goals coming in the league in just 16 league games. He's been phenomenal this season by the sounds of it.
Well, Callie's a local lad. He was playing step 5 football 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, scored 40 goals, did come and trial with us the season before last, but felt he wasn't ready because he's quite a small lad. Went back for another season at step 5, scored another 40 goals, got promoted, but instead of going to he's playing step 4. No, he was playing step 5. They came to us and scored about 22, 23 goals last season in his first season. And he's a little bit of a surprise that don't be wrong, he's a good player, but it's a little bit surprised he's done so well from the off at this level.
And any other players that might catch the eye on Saturday?
Yeah, we've got a few young lads. Our right back, our goalkeeper's very solid. Came from Burton Albion, had 2 ACLs, but he's a great character and done well for us. Our right back, Dan Meredith, is you'll see him motoring up and down the touchline all day. Great energy, 7 out of 10 every week. And then we've got quite a few decent lads, and then we've got some young lads, a centre back George Ward, and another young lad in the centre midfield, Ewan Williams, who've come from lower level football. They're doing very well, and then we're a balance. No, it's a mixture. We've got about 4 or 5 old heads in the team, and then the rest. We're quite a young team overall, but I was going to say 4 or 5. It used to be 4 or 5, 6, 7 old heads. It's probably about 3 now. So
And there's obviously the cold snap coming ahead of this weekend. How's the pitch holding up? Is that a concern at all?
Well, our pitch is very good. One of the challenges we also have, though, is because we're out in the countryside. It's good facilities. It's a good pitch. So we will have to cover watching the forecast with bated breath, and whether we've got to go and drag pitch covers all over it or not. If we have to, we will do so. But judging by the forecast, I've no real issues that this isn't a game that won't go ahead. In fact, we didn't have a game postponed all of last season. Very good draining pitch, and I doubt if there'll be any issues.
And finally, then you touched on the facilities and the fact that the ground is effectively in the middle of the countryside. What are the facilities like inside the ground?
The facilities are quite decent. We've got a reasonable sized clubhouse for our location. Now we've got 2 stands that accommodate 500 people seating in total. I think we can do about just under 1,000 people under cover. We've got the terracing. No, I think there's 100 seats available to Scunthorpe fans. There's 75 can be standing in a small terrace. And then there's a huge terrace at the end. Well, huge for us, sorry, not for Scunthorpe. But we've got terracing for 1,000 for away fans at one end of the ground. So there's plenty of scope for those Scunthorpe fans that want to come and look from the vista of a football pitch that's in the countryside. But we're not bad. If they go on and look at the stands, it's not as humdrum as they may think.
Well, I enjoyed that. Thank you very much for your time, Jim.
It's okay. We look pleasure to seeing you all on Saturday.
Well, they were the thoughts there of Jim Scott, the chairman of Leamington FC. Interesting to hear what he had to say. I guess the one thing we should probably talk about there is that we're recording this on Tuesday night. That interview with Jim was recorded on Monday night, and he said at the point of interview he has no concerns over the pitch, no concerns over the weather. So that's a good thing. Let's hope that holds true. As we're looking ahead to the game at the weekend, then, Marco, what would be a reasonable result? Would you take a point, or do we need all 3?
If things were different and our form wasn't so dire coming into this, I'd say win your home games and you draw your away games, you're fine. But I think he needs a win, and I think he needs a good win. They've been quite good at home, if I'm not wrong. It'll be tough, but look, I really do think we need a win. I think I know we said we don't want to put pressure on any managers, but another loss on Saturday doesn't look good at all. So, are you asking a prediction? Or...
Go on, Chuck was one. Yeah.
I'm going 2-0 Iron. I'm going. It's the hope that kills you. I'm going for a shape change, and 2-0. But look, we can hope and pray.
And Becky, what are you going for?
Oh God, I always get these wrong. I am going 3-1 the Iron.
Okay,
we're either going to go for it and win really well, or we're going to flop.
And Gaz?
I'm actually going to this game now. I wasn't going to be going, but Debbie was planned on doing something for her birthday. That's fallen through. So I'm now going to Leamington to watch it. I think we're going to win 1-0. But it's that type of a game that, they're on a 14-game unbeaten run, I believe it is. I think they play Chester tonight, Tuesday night. So that could go tonight, I guess. But we're in bad run of form, and it's just that type of game, isn't it, that a team's in really good form, expecting to win, and the team goes up against them that's in a really bad run of form and just, turns the tables on its head type thing. So I think we're going to get something out of it. I think I'll go 1-0. 1-0. Scrappy 1-0, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
Do you think that's worth it, though? Well, not worth it as such, but do you think fans would be happy with a scrappy 1-0?
I'd be happy with a scrappy 1-0.
I would be happy with a scrappy 1-0, but then really, are we paper over in the cracks?
Yeah, but you've got to start somewhere, haven't you?
Yeah,
exactly.
No, I agree, and they're a very hard team to play, especially away.
Yeah, but I think you've got to start somewhere. So if a scrappy 1-0 starts the revival, I'll take it all day long. If a scrappy 1-0 is just that, and then we lose the next game, then, you know, it is what it is.
I'll take 1-0 for the rest of the season.
Plenty of scrappy 1-0, so.
Yeah.
Just before we move on to the next segment, just a really quick one from you, Marco. Obviously, we played in the Links Cup today against Grimsby and a good win, 3-1. Luke Williams got on the score sheet. Anything you can tell us about that game?
We're back. Signed a contract, an actual contract, none of this verbal shit, on the table, but was at the wheel. But no, look, always nice to get one over on my codheads. I've had somebody tell me that Grimsby had about 5 or 6 first teamers in. So I've been a bit of youth. I've actually said that on Twitter as well. Still not heard anything about the shape, so we don't know if it's changed or if it was a back 5 again. But if so, it's obviously working. Beating Grimsby. But the big positive from the game for me is Carlton getting 2 goals. And obviously Williams coming back and getting one as well. Carlton's one of those that we all thought were probably going to run our season. Definitely a contender to be one of our big hitters. And he's not really done that yet. He's not really got going. So the fact he's managed to get 2, I know it's in the Lincolnshire Cup, but if you can take that into the league, then it's a really positive result.
And let's hope if we get the next fixture at home, let's hope that is at the ground in front of a crowd, because I understand that the decisions around policing, but God, it is just that little bit frustrating. We all want to see Scunthorpe, and especially those of us that can't make every Saturday. Any midweek game we could get is a bonus, so it is frustrating. But of course, we understand the decisions. Right, let's have Hero Idiot Moment of the Week. Kick us off then, Gareth. Who's your hero of the week?
My heroes of the week are Gateshead FC and Gateshead Council for reaching an agreement that if Gateshead get promoted or get into the playoffs, that they can actually go up into the EFL or fulfil the fixture in the playoffs, because last season they made the playoffs and they weren't allowed to fulfil fixtures. So they're my heroes, and good luck to them.
Good luck indeed. Marco, who's your hero of the week?
Mine, which I can see turning into an idiot or definitely a moment, but at the minute is a hero just because an icon. It's Claudio Ranieri coming back into football management. Finished on a high at my team, Cagliari. Got a top on, but finished on a high, keeping us up. But he's gone back to his boyhood, Roma. We're having a bit of disarray at the minute to sort of steady the ship. So really hope it works out for him, because I don't think there's many people alive who dislike Ranieri.
And Becky, who's your hero of the week?
I'd say Russ Wilcox for what he's done at Gainsborough Trinity the last couple of weeks. They seem to be on a nice little run, and it's really nice to see him and him personally succeed, because he's just a great guy. I kind of have a little soft spot for them.
Yeah, me too. And Russ, which is why you get the points, Becky. You've kicked us off with one, and you and Russ Wilcox take the lead going into Idiot of the Week. So we'll kick off with Marco. Who's your Idiot of the Week?
Oh, it's me, and there's so many millions of people who thought Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul would have been a good fight.
You're a loser, mate. You're an absolute pathetic waste of space.
What an absolute shit show from start to finish. But look, it's very much like Scunthorpe. I mean, it's the hope that kills you. We all thought we were going to see. The thing is, the reason people tune in is because everyone hopes we're going to see Jake Paul get knocked out, and that's why he'll continue to sell fights, and that's why he won't fight a boxer. But yeah, look, we all bit, and we all fell for him. They've had a really nice payday.
No, sorry, mate. We didn't all fall for it.
Yeah, plenty of millions did, mate. I don't think. I think them with their 50, 60 million above that you didn't tune in. I think we just hit who we wanted.
Oh, well, yeah. The casuals, not the purists. Becky, who's your Idiot of the Week?
Every single person that tuned into that fight are my idiots of the week, to be fair, because we all know it was fixed from the start. Tyson was never going to get hurt, and he was going to go to the scorecards, and it was just a money-making scam. So Marco's probably my idiot as well, along with 60 million others. But you're not, Barra.
Have you just made that up on the spot?
Yes.
Yes, nice. Nice of you to chip in there with an answer. And Gareth, what was your Idiot of the Week?
I was nearly Idiot of the Week. I set my alarm, or I had my alarm set, woke up 10 minutes before it, turned it off and went back to sleep. So I'm also not an idiot. But I'm going to choose Dylan. I had a family member last week in Kendal, so I'm choosing a family member this week in Dylan, just for hearing him moaning about FIFA clubs or whatever it's called to his mates. I'm rubbish, you're rubbish, he's rubbish. Just going on and on. That's it.
Mate, you get the points because as a dad, I am vibing with you. It's a disgrace, isn't it? Some of the language they use.
But you're a dad.
Would have done that back in my day.
You're a dad to young kids. I'm a dad to a 22-year-old.
Yeah, that's true. It's even worse. Right, guys, you get the point, which means unless Marco can pull something out of the bag, he's going home a loser once again. Moment of the week. Becky, kick us off. What was your moment of the week?
I haven't had a moment of the week this week. I've been very poorly, so I'm kind of at a blank on this one, unfortunately.
Well, definitely no points for Becky. Marco, what was your moment of the week?
Mine's today, and although we're behind closed doors, it's Luke Williams getting on the score sheet. I think it's going to be a really good season if we can keep him fit. I think he's going to be key. So yeah, Luke Williams getting on the score sheet. Let's hope he don't play a centre mid. And I think it's a good start today against the Colleds.
Yeah, that's a good answer. It is a good answer. Gareth, moment of the week?
Has to be San Marino winning away from home in their 101st attempt and beating Liechtenstein 3-1, finishing top of the group. That's got to be the moment of the week. And it's first time they scored 3 goals in a game as well. So yeah, that's my moment of the week.
You can have that. You can have that, and you're the winner. Promotion to Group C. You're also promoted, Gareth. With 2 points, you win that round. Right, Marco, have you got enough time to tell our listeners about a prize that they can get their hands on?
So, obviously, our really successful Fantasy Premier League. We've had a bit of a break. To celebrate, no more international breaks till March. Thank God. A little competition this week. I'm sure we'll pop it on social medias. But there will be a prize. I think it's a voucher for the club shop. Whoever can get the most points this week on fantasy football. Now, there is no rules. If you want to use your triple captains, your bench boosts, you name it, all out. We want to see the biggest number at the end of the game week. Whoever takes it wins the voucher. So yeah,
£10 club voucher for most points in the game week.
Imagine how many chips you could get with that.
Yeah, quite a lot of chips, I should think. Right, I think that's it from us, guys. We've had, it's an interesting episode to say the least. Definitely one of the less jovial, but kind of we've dug into a lot, and we'll just finish off with the thoughts here from Stuart Maw, who's given us an update regarding the fundraising.
Now then, Barra and the team at the INO podcast. Stuart here, just doing a little bit of a promotion for the Iron Christmas quiz in memory of John Staff on the 12th of December. We have got all the teams that can be in it now. There's going to be 14 teams. I just want to explain there's going to be a big raffle, of which, if you look behind me, I've got some of the prizes in the background. We've got a £350 voucher for the club shop that can be spent on match tickets, season tickets or merchandise. A second prize of £150 for the same purpose. We have the big framed Scunthorpe United shirt signed by all the players as the third prize for the raffle. We have a £75 voucher for those wearing the best retro shirt, donated by Bradley Guest, and big thank you to Bradley for that. We're going to be doing a £10 in an envelope. That's to win the 125 years gift box with all the Scunthorpe United goodies in there, if you can see that in the background. Very nice prize. There was only 125 of those made, so it'd be quite a unique prize. Basically, everybody can put a £10 note in the envelope. The winner will get drawn out on the night, and you don't have to be at the quiz to be in it. You can if you see me about, you can give me your money to put in an envelope. You can do it on Facebook. You can bank transfer your £10 to me and I will put the £10 in an envelope. I will take a picture of it and show you that it's gone in. Raffle tickets are going to be £1 a strip, but you can get 12 strips for £10. And yeah, as I say, again, the same thing. You don't have to be at the quiz. We will be selling the raffle tickets on the night, but we're also starting to sell them on Monday on Facebook. And then on Friday, and possibly 1 or 2 more days in the run-up to the quiz, myself and Dave Thomas will be down at Glanford Park, outside the club shop, selling the raffle tickets. There's some really nice prizes. I've purchased all the prizes from the club, so there's somewhere around £800 plus on prizes that's already gone into the club from the auctions, etc., from the fundraising, and now hopefully lots of you will buy raffle tickets and do the £10 envelope game, and then the club will receive all that money what we make on there. It's a win-win situation financially for the club, and hopefully the quiz will be a fantastic night. And a big thank you to Barra, who's going to be doing is the quiz master. Understand it's going to be very good fun. Looking forward to it. So that's on the 12th of December, and it's all in memory of John Staff. We've even got a trophy, the John Staff Memorial Quiz Trophy. That's behind me, if you can see that as well. The winning team will get that, and if the quiz is a success, we hope to make it an annual event. So take care, everybody. Thanks again, Barra and the team at the Iron Hour podcast. Take care. Up the iron.